Right, welcome to Rambling Achieved. Today it's going to be a video on 500% that I gave up on. Um, it's kind of unfortunate because I was watching Mortismal as I usually do and realized that he literally just put this video out, and it's kind of like, God damn it, why did I wait so long? Looks like I'm scraping ideas from him, but much respect to him. He's great at making content, so great minds think alike. Wink, wink. Um, but yeah, today is just going to be with me enjoying achievement hunting and stuff like that. Um, I've 100% quite a few games, north of 100 now, but there's certain times that you are in the middle of trying to get 100%, or you look even just in the beginning stages and just realize, oh, no, this is very much not going to be achievable. And it's kind of going to be 5 different games, and they're going to be 5 varying reasons as well as to why I ended up putting the stop to them. So to kick things off, it's not actually going to be Dragon Quest. I just needed some footage to be running in the background to kick things off. I don't think you can just skip, can you? To the next thing. There we go. All right, to kick things off, Pathfinder, and this goes for both of them as well. Both Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous. Kingmaker on consoles never got fully fixed and patched, really. It's playable, but it's not the best way to play it. Like, I can't remember the exact thing that happened. Basically, there was a falling out, and then the patches just freezed up, and Owlcat stopped supporting the game, basically, for reasons that remain relatively unknown. Um, but yeah, it's the unfair difficulty, which is it lives up to its name. Um, I attempted in Kingmaker. You have like a tutorial intro thing, and yeah, it was very very apparent that not only is it kind of difficult to play on a controller. I never looked to see if it had keyboard and mouse support, but it's very difficult to try and micromanage things on controller with a traditional CRPG, and just the difficulty itself was just really really brutal. You need to have incredible depth of knowledge of the game systems to get through them opening fights and stuff like that, and get to a point where you can kind of get a little bit of strength underneath you, because you start off very very anemic and the rolls are very much not in your favor. So yeah, that was one that kind of hurts me a little bit. I would have very much loved to have 100% um, both of these Pathfinder games, but they're just really, really challenging on console. And that's not to say like they're a breeze on PC either. It's still very, very difficult. But yeah, it's probably a lot easier to micromanage on a keyboard and mouse than it is a controller. So there we go. Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. All right, next up, Mad Max. Damn, this one really really does sting because it's not. It's in the complete opposite boat to Pathfinder. Pathfinder was, you can technically do it. It just takes a lot of like patience and stuff like that. Mad Max, however, well, not unsurprisingly, surprisingly, I should say, is the thing that stopped me getting this 100% had nothing to do with skill or want. It was servers, and that's always the bane of a completionist. Is why did this single player game need to have like online server components when it has like no multiplayer and stuff like that? I'll never understand, because the thing that robbed me from getting this 100% is basically the equivalent of a daily login bonus. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy, in my opinion, to think that, this entire single player game, which I think is unbelievably underrated for what it is as a open world sandbox, um, it's just crazy that they went down that route because it's from the developers of the first Just Cause game, Just Cause 4, and I think they also supported heavily in developing Rage 2. So like they know how to make fun games. Because all of them games, in my opinion, they're fun to play, and it's no different here. This game is like really, really damn good, and it's just spoiled by I don't know, like the word, like it's the typical thing where some bigwig is like, yeah, make sure it has like online components and stuff like that because we need to collect data and sell it. Because this has no reason to have that tied to it, really. It's a really big letdown. The world's fun to explore. The car combat's great. Heavily influenced by the Arkham combat with the punch counter kind of stuff that you'd expect, and just yeah, really really unfortunate that this ended up getting soured because of server closures. And now, for instance, if you were to pick it up as a completionist on a very very deep sale, which it usually is, you're not going to be able to 100% it because in somebody's infinite wisdom they needed a daily login bonus that connected to the internet via server. So very unfortunate there, but that is the second game. Alrighty, third game we have here is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and it's kind of in a similar vein to Mad Max, as it had server closures which cut off the online component. But the difference is, as annoying as that is for me and many others, I do understand that if it actually has a multiplayer game mode, it's a little bit more like, okay, I kind of get it. You know, at some point, them servers are going to go down. I enjoyed the multiplayer because I think it started off in Brotherhood, if I'm not mistaken. This kind of hide and seek, um, I don't know how you'd like detective esque thing. Like you'd have different characters, and then it would give you a target, and you need to try and assassinate that target while also being hunted yourself. Like it was a cool concept and premise, but just never really caught on, really. So that's like a major component as to what stopped me from getting the 100% because you had to grind that multiplayer quite a bit. It's not something that you could just do a little bit of. You're talking probably into like the 30 to 50 hour mark, I would assume, to get all the levels and all the miscellaneous stuff. So yeah, there's tons of games that are like that where they tag on a multiplayer game mode and it does just for completionists kind of put them off and be like, well, I don't actually want to do it because it's so unfortunate. The main game is so good. Um, Still one of my favorite Assassin's Creeds. It's a little bit lighter on the assassin elements. You're very much more focused in on being a pirate. But the world and exploration is some of the best that they did in the original design philosophy of the Assassin's Creed games, and kind of surprisingly as well, a very emotional story with Edward's story. Like some really impactful moments, some of the most, I would argue, impactful moments in the series. So hopefully this remake thing comes out relatively soon. Doesn't have any multiplayer tied to it. That'd be nice, and I could get another Assassin's Creed 100% under my belt. All right, up next, Necropolis. Probably not one many people have heard of. It's kind of a smallish game developed by Harebrained Studios, who, to my understanding, also had a hand in developing the BattleTech game that came out in like 2018. And I think they did the Shadowrun games that came out around that time as well. It's it was a really cool concept. It's kind of like a Souls-like roguelite, um, but just it's so buggy. Like I remember playing it at launch, it crashed a lot, um, and then it just seemed to not get any support whatsoever because you have in. Right, I'm gonna have to. The trailer's so short. We'll just have Dragon Quest running in the background. You had a system wherein which you're exploring the world and you find blueprints and stuff like that, and that was one of the big achievements of like it just didn't track. So I don't even know if anybody's 100%ed this legitimately on Xbox. I can't speak for PlayStation. Maybe it's more functioning over there. But yeah, you see it all the time on True Achievements of like somebody finally picking it up on a sale and then being like, is this even doable? Because it does flag that somebody has got the all of the blueprints, but people are adamant that, I have a save file with it fully stacked with stuff and it just doesn't pop. So yeah. It's unfortunate because it was a really cool idea and it was released in a time where they were not really, really oversaturated with roguelites. It was still kind of a little bit special. Also kind of cool that it was one of the early console games that came over as well from that. You had like Isaac, Risk of Rain 2, and then this was another one. But it's just really unfortunate that so many titles now suffer from things. If they don't get patched, that's it. It will forever be just left in the ether in that state. So yeah, really unfortunate. A fun game, but if you want to 100% of yourself, a big avoid from me. All right, and finally capping it all off with a game developed by Rico Technology, Numantia. This will be your big indie game of the of the video. I don't think anybody's really heard of this game. I stumbled upon this on like a very, very deep sale several years ago, and being a fan of like Romans and stuff like that, it was like, hell yeah, let's go. Ended up finding out that it was a turn-based strategy game, which is up my alley. I love them. But the thing that was kind of surprising is that it has a lot of similarities and crossover between. Don't get me wrong, it's a much, much, much more um, anemic and thin game in comparison to stuff like the Banner Saga and stuff like that. But it does have like a decent amount of character interaction. You have like visual novel segments where you are talking to characters, as you can see on the screen, and you're able to actually make branching paths. Like they're not groundbreaking, but you can lose allies and stuff like that because you have heroes and stuff named characters as well as just generic standard infantry and stuff like that. You're also upgrading your camp here throughout your battle in Numantia. And it has two campaigns. You play as the Numantians or you can play as the Romans. And yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. It's been pulled from digital storefronts, so it's kind of as I said, unfortunate thing. Like I can recommend, like, if you have this in your backlog, absolutely dig it out and like give it a look and give it a go. But it's been pulled from Steam. It's no longer on Xbox. However, there is a saving grace. This never got an Xbox physical, I don't believe, but it did get a PlayStation physical. I've seen them floating around, so there is a way to still have a way of purchasing the game and playing it in 2025. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it was pulled. But the reason that it makes this list is you don't usually see this particularly often. It just there's a reason they pulled the copy. I don't think it sold really anything. Like nobody bought this game. So when nobody buys the game, nobody plays the game, which means that if nobody plays the game, nobody can try and like work out some of the weird miscellaneous achievements and trophies that you need to work out, because I couldn't find any guides online for some of the stuff that you had to do, because there's some obtuse gameplay mechanics that happen, and it's like, I don't know like what you want me to do. So it's kind of hard to like work that out. So I can't remember how many I ended up getting, but like I got a decent amount of them, and then there's just a few floating there where it's like, I don't know like what I have to do to like get these unlocked. So it's just one of them unfortunate things where it's probably achievable. I believe people have 100% it, but nobody's come forward and been like, yeah, this is how I got it. So yeah, it makes you definitely appreciate people like PowerPix and stuff like that, who, if you're in the space of achievement hunting and trophy hunting, you know that they do a lot of guides and helping for people to get through their 100% list and stuff like that. And it's kind of telling when you get hit with like this hammer of like, this is how it kind of was back in the day. If you didn't have like a game guide for like an original Final Fantasy game, you weren't going to be 100%ing it per se. So it's kind of a shot of nostalgia, I guess, of it being like that. But yeah, there you go. That is 500% that at one point or another I was working on them, but I did have to give up, unfortunately. So there we have it. Another solo video down. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out Brandon's channel if you somehow stumbled upon here before there. He does tons of great solo content, and we do a decent amount of collaborative work over there as well. So that'll be linked in the description. Make sure to also, if you want to join Discord with like-minded gamers such as yourself, to pop a comment down below, and I'll hit you back with a link. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully if you have any 100%, you're not having to give up on them yourself, and you get through it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.